Have you ever wished you could go back and change just one moment? I have. One decision took only a few seconds, but I spent years living with the regret. This is my story. My name is Emma. I am 32 years old. People often ask me one question. If you could change one day in your life, which day would it be? My answer is always the same. It was a rainy Tuesday in October. At that time, I was working as a marketing manager in New York. My job was everything to me. I wanted a promotion. I wanted a better salary. I wanted to prove that all my hard work was worth it. My father lived alone in a small town about 3 hours away. After my mother passed away, he refused to leave the family house. He always said, "This house is full of memories." Every evening, he called me. Sometimes we talked for 5 minutes, sometimes for an hour. He always asked the same question. "Emma, have you eaten today?" I always laughed. "Yes, Dad." Then he would tell me about his garden, his old dog, or the neighbors. Some stories were funny. Some were boring. But now, I wish I could hear every single one again. One Tuesday afternoon, my phone rang. It was Dad. I looked at the screen. At the same moment, my boss walked into the meeting room. "Emma, everyone is waiting." I looked at my phone again. Then I pressed decline. "I'll call him tonight," I whispered. The meeting lasted almost 4 hours. When it finally ended, I felt exhausted. I looked at my phone. 3 missed calls. All from Dad. I smiled to myself. He probably just wants to talk. I'll call after dinner. But after dinner, another project arrived. I opened my laptop. Hours passed. By the time I finished, it was almost midnight. I'll call him tomorrow morning, I thought. I turned off the lights and went to sleep. The next morning, my phone rang at 6 o'clock. It wasn't Dad. It was my aunt. Her voice was shaking. "Emma, you need to come home. Your father, he had a heart attack last night." My heart stopped. I couldn't breathe. I grabbed my keys and drove as fast as I could. The whole way, I kept repeating one sentence. "Please let him be okay. Please." When I arrived at the hospital, I already knew. No one had to tell me. My aunt looked at me with tears in her eyes. She slowly shook her head. I felt like my whole world had disappeared. The last time my father heard my voice was 2 days earlier. The last thing I said to him was, "I'm busy, Dad. I'll call you later." Later never came. I stood there without moving. I couldn't believe my father was gone. Only one thought kept repeating in my mind. Why didn't I answer the phone? The funeral was held 2 days later. Friends, neighbors, old classmates, everyone came to say goodbye. They all told me the same thing. "Your father was a wonderful man. He talked about you all the time." I smiled politely. But inside, I was breaking. After everyone left, I stayed alone in the house. Everything looked exactly the same. His favorite chair was still by the window. His reading glasses were on the table. His coffee cup was still in the kitchen. For a moment, I expected him to walk through the front door and smile. But the house remained silent. As I cleaned his bedroom, I found an old wooden box. Inside were family photos, birthday cards, and dozens of letters. One envelope had my name written on it. For Emma. My hands were shaking as I opened it. Inside was a handwritten letter. It said, "My dear Emma, if you are reading this, I may not be with you anymore. Please don't blame yourself. I know you are busy building your future. Every time I called, it wasn't because I needed anything. I simply wanted to hear my daughter's voice. I have always been proud of you. Never let regret steal your happiness. Live a life that makes you smile. With all my love, Dad. By the time I finished reading, my eyes were full of tears. I hugged the letter against my chest. For the first time, I cried without holding back. Months passed. I returned to work, but I wasn't the same person anymore. The promotion I had worked so hard for didn't make me happy. The long meetings no longer felt important. One Saturday, I visited a nearby nursing home. Many of the elderly people rarely had visitors. Some hadn't seen their families in months. I sat beside an old man named Mr. Harris. We talked for almost an hour. Before I left, he smiled and said, "Thank you. You reminded me of my daughter." Those words touched my heart. The next weekend, I came back. Then the weekend after that. Soon, visiting the nursing home became part of my life. I read books to the residents, played chess with them, listened to their stories. Sometimes, all they needed was someone to sit beside them. One afternoon, an elderly woman held my hand. She smiled and whispered, "You don't know how much this means to us." At that moment, I finally understood something. I could never change the past. I could never answer my father's last phone call. But I could make sure someone else never felt forgotten. Today, whenever my phone rings, I answer whenever I can. When the people I love need me, I make time for them. Because work can wait. Money can wait. Another meeting can wait. But the people we love cannot always wait forever. Psychologists say that regret is one of the strongest emotions we carry. It doesn't come from the mistakes we made. It often comes from the moments we believed we would always have another chance. I learned that lesson too late. If someone you love comes to your mind today, call them, send them a message, tell them you love them. Don't wait for tomorrow, because tomorrow is never promised.